In this next video we're going to take a look at, I was really excited when the story came out because it's not often that you see a national media story about long-term disability insurance claims. And what we're going to focus on is a portion of the story in which you have the opportunity to see a former insurance commissioner and a representative of an insurance lobby group speak about the issue dealing with hired gun physicians, which is basically insurance company doctors that are hired to review the files of claimants. So let's take a look at this video and see what the insurance commissioner has to say, what the representative of the insurance lobby group has to say, and when it's over, myself and my partner Stephen Jessup are going to provide some commentary regarding our view of this video and our experiences of working with some of these disability insurance companies. So let's take a look.
There's no question that in certain cases, disability income carriers and health carriers use hired gun physician opinions in order to deny claims.
Morrison says what's worse, in 39 states, insurers can add legal language to their policies called discretionary clauses, which enable them to uphold claim denials in court based on evidence such as that provided by their in-house doctors.
I think it's an inherently unfair process.
We went to Susan Pisano from the Health Insurance Lobby Group for answers. Critics call these in-house doctors hired guns. How can you expect to be seen as fair if you're paying the person who makes the determination?
$10 billion are paid out in claims every year. 500,000 people are receiving disability claims annually.
They don't even see patients, they just look at these files?
You know, I happen to know a lot of physicians who are employed by disability carriers. The typical profile is a very smart, very compassionate physician who understands the healthcare system.
I can't even get antibiotics over the phone with my doctor.
So,
you know what I'm saying? But you can find out that you don't have MS or leukemia from somebody who's never seen you.
You know, Steve, after watching that video, it was interesting to hear the insurance lobby group representative say, you know, I know a lot of these physicians and they're smart and they're compassionate. And one thing I will give her is that they are smart, and I think that they're very smart business people in what they do because they make a lot of money from usually one source, one employer, and that employer is usually the insurance company. And what really bothers me about the whole thing is not so much that they're making the money from the insurance company, because the insurance company is entitled to hire a physician. It's that from what you and I see on a daily basis, which is the insurance company takes the opinion of their in-house hired physician and relies on that almost exclusively to deny a claim. And that's the part that I think is really hideous about the whole process. I mean, what has your experience been with that?
That's exactly it, and as the anchor had said, I mean, how can you really be compassionate towards a stack of papers? You never even treat the person, you never see the person. And it's just absolutely amazing where you could have a client that has a litany of health conditions, but you know, this doctor can come back and just say, yeah, but you know what, I don't think this will prevent him from working whatsoever, without really, you know, ever speaking to the person, sometimes ever speaking to their treating physicians. So where's the compassion? Where's the actual practice of medicine in there? You know, so it's probably one of the most frustrating elements, and I think it's one that frustrates you know, our clients and insureds and claimants. That's how it's done. That's how they get denied.
Well, what I don't really understand is how can these doctors make determinations as to whether or not a claimant has a restriction or limitation without even ever examining them or even speaking to them, just basically looking at the records? I mean, how can they do that?
I think that's the million-dollar question right there.
You know, the other thing about that is that they don't just like not examine them and not look at them, but then what they do is they take advantage of the medical records that they're presented with, because we know that most physicians who treat patients, they don't do what I call like a legal medical documentation. They document what the patient tells them about complaints. They write down, you know, what the patient says. They write down what they're observing on their exam, and then they say, I'll see you back in 3 weeks, a month, or 6 weeks. They don't write down, you know, don't lift 10 pounds, don't walk for more than 10 minutes, don't sit for more than 10 minutes, don't do any bending. They tell the patient, do what you think you can do. And we know that the insurance companies get a hold of these records, have their doctors look at the records. The doctors say, there's no restrictions, limitations in the records, we're going to deny the claim. And that's really another thing that's not fair. And we talked about these smart, compassionate doctors. Well, they know that they're going to get these records that 90% of doctors aren't going to document for a disability claim, and they're going to be able to say to the company, no restrictions, limitations. And you know what the insurance company does with that once they get it back from their doctor.
They deny the claim. And how many times have we had a chance to speak with one of our clients' doctors, and they'll always tell you, I don't write my records for an insurance company to scrutinize. I'm doing it so I have a memory and a record of what's going on with my patient and how to treat the patient. And the lack of that, you're right. They don't even bother to take a look at what's in the record. They only focus on what's not in the record.
And every person who's watching this video now knows that if they ever just went ahead and called their doctor up and said, hey doc, here's what's, my lower back's bothering me, and these are some other problems, and it's difficult for me to sleep at night, and I'm having trouble walking for more than 15 minutes, that the doctor is not just going to say over the phone, hey, here's what I think you should do, or here, I don't think there's anything wrong with you. That doctor is going to say, if he even says anything over the phone, he's going to say, you got to come in and see me because I have to evaluate you. I can't make a determination without seeing you. And I think that's also something that we saw this reporter said, I can't even get a prescription over the phone, let alone a diagnosis. So I think the insurance companies are really taking advantage of these claimants by using these hired physicians and manipulating the medical records. So I hope that the people who are watching this video, many of them are on claim and don't experience these problems, but if you have experienced these problems, we want to hear about it. We want you to put entries on our website so that other people can learn from your experience, and we want you to contact us if you're having any difficulties so that we can try to give you some additional advice to potentially avoid these situations with your claim.